You've got one life, one chance, one timeline. And time, once it passes, it doesn't come back. That's why the first step, the most important step, is to take full control of your life right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready, right now. Because time doesn't wait for you to feel like it. It keeps going. And if you don't get serious about your life won't get serious about you. Now here's the truth, real, uncomfortable, but necessary. You're either in charge of your life or someone else is. That's the choice. There's no in between. You can't halfway run your life. Either you run it or it runs you. Either you direct your day or your day directs you. And if you let distractions, fear, laziness, or the opinions of others decide what you do with your time, then you are not in control. And if you're not in control, you cannot grow. And if you're not growing, you're shrinking. There's no neutral zone in life. Most people don't want to face that. They want the comfort of blaming something. They want the safety of pointing at someone else. But blame won't build your future. Excuses won't pay your bills. And self-pity won't build your confidence. You want real change? You've got to take ownership. You've got to stand up and say, this is my life. No more waiting. No more delays. I decide what happens next. Control doesn't mean everything goes your way. Control means you take full responsibility for how you respond. Control means you decide how you show up every single day, regardless of circumstances. Because no matter how tough life gets, you still choose what kind of person you are in the middle of. Taking full control starts with your thoughts. What you allow in your mind determines how you feel, and how you feel decides what you do, and what you do shapes your results. You want to win? Clean up your thinking. Stop feeding yourself thoughts of doubt, fear, and failure. That kind of thinking builds nothing but hesitation and regret. Feed your mind with strength. Feed it with belief. Tell yourself the truth. You are capable of changing your life starting now. But belief alone isn't enough. You've got to act on it. You've got to back it up with work. There's no success without effort. There's no progress without discipline. That's reality. And people avoid discipline because it's uncomfortable. But so is regret. So is watching years go by without doing anything about your goal. So is wondering what you could have been if you had only started earlier. The question is, which pain are you willing to face? The pain of discipline or the pain of regret? Choose the one that leads to growth. Choose the one that puts you in charge. You want control? Then get honest with yourself. What are you doing every day that's keeping you stuck? What are you allowing in your environment that weakens your focus? What habits are wasting your energy? You've got to see clearly. You've got to face the truth. You can't fix what you're not willing to face. Start with your habit. Your results come from your habits, not your hopes. If your habits are weak, your future will be weak. If your habits are strong, your future becomes strong. And you control your habits, nobody else. If you wake up late, scroll your phone, skip your goals, procrastinate all day, who's making those choices? You are. So change them. Replace weak habits with strong ones. Wake up earlier. Read more. Plan your day. Cut off distraction. Talk to people who challenge you, not those who comfort your bad decision. Control also means stop asking for permission to grow. You don't need anyone's approval to get better. You don't need to wait for your friends to understand your goals. You don't need your family to believe in your vision. You need you. You need your own commitment. You need your own reasons. You need your own fire. If you rely on others to stay motivated, what happens when they disappear? You've got to build a fire that can't be put out by silence, doubt, or delay. You've also got to stop hoping for easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it. If it was easy, it wouldn't build strength. The struggle is part of the process. The difficulty is part of the journey. It teaches you how to fight. It teaches you how to focus. It teaches you what you're really made of. Don't avoid it. Walk into it. Face it. Control your attitude. Control your effort. Control your actions, no matter what life throws at you. And you've got to remember, every single day you wake up is a new chance. You can either repeat what's not working, or you can do something different. You can either keep going in circles, or you can decide to change your direction. One choice, one action, one decision at a time. That's how you take control. Not by waiting for motivation, not by hoping you feel like it, but by choosing to show up even when you don't. It's easy to get distracted. It's easy to get caught in what everyone else is doing. Social media, gossip, negativity. It's everywhere. But you don't have to let it into your mind. You don't have to make it part of your world. If it doesn't build you, remove it. If it doesn't grow you, walk away from it. You only get one life. Why waste it following noise? Here's something else. Taking control doesn't mean being perfect. It means being committed. You're gonna fall. You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna have bad days. That's not failure. That's life. What matters is how you respond. What matters is whether you keep going or give up. Most people stop after the first setback. Winners keep going no matter what. And you've got to define what success means to you, not based on anyone else, not based on numbers or fame, but based on your growth, your peace, your purpose. Taking control means deciding what really matters to you and refusing to live below it. It means raising your standards. It means demanding more from yourself, even when no one is watching. You want to be the best version of yourself, then stop settling, stop waiting, stop putting off the work. Decide who you want to become and act like that person today, not someday, today. Start doing the things that version of you would do. Think how they would think, work how they would work, speak how they would live how they would live, because no one is going to do it for you. That's the truth. No one's going to hand you discipline. No one's going to hand you purpose. No one's going to knock on your door and say, here's the life you want. You've got to go after it. You've got to fight for it. You've got to build it with your own two hands, day by day, step by step, with courage, with effort, with hunger. Look around at your life right now. What needs to change? What needs to go? What needs to improve? Answer those questions with action. Not talk, not dreams, action. Change the way you think. Change the way you move. Change the way you live. You've got the power. You just have to use it. And I'll say this, you're stronger than you think. You're more capable than you believe. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be real. Be honest. Be intentional. Be committed. Most people never even try. They wait. They complain. They wish. Don't be most people. Be the one who takes control. Be the one who chooses growth. Be the one who breaks the cycle. You don't need more time. You need more direction. You don't need permission. You need a decision. You don't need luck. You need effort. Real control begins when you stop talking and start doing. When you stop explaining and start creating. When you stop doubting and start believing. When you stop running from your problems and start facing them head on. And you've got to protect your energy. Control who you spend time with. Some people pull you backward. Some people drain your drive. Some people make you question your goals. You can love them, but you don't have to follow them. You've got to be around people who remind you of your greatness, not your limits. People who push you, not pacify you. People who expect more from you, not less. That's control. That's taking charge. That's living like you mean it. So start today, not next month, not when it feels easier. Start now. Clean up your mind. Clean up your habits. Clean up your circle. Build a schedule. Set some goals. Review your actions. Demand more from yourself. Take responsibility for how you feel and what you do about it. Speak the truth. Live with intention. Make this the year you took back your power. Don't let your past own your future. Don't let your emotions run your life. Don't let comfort become your prison. You've got a fire inside you. Feed it. Build with it. Lead with it. Because if you don't take full control of your life right now, someone else will. And that, my friend, is a price far too high to pay. Face your daily excuses and crush them forever. You know, one of the biggest lies people tell themselves every single day is this: I'll do it later. That little voice that creeps in every morning, every afternoon, every night. That little voice that talks you out of pushing harder. That voice that says it's too hard. You're tired. You deserve a break. You've got time. That voice is the enemy. That voice is the excuse. Then if you don't deal with it, if you don't crush it completely, it will take over your life. Quietly, slowly, without warning. Excuses don't show up like monsters. They're not loud. They don't scream. They whisper. They sound reasonable. They wear the disguise of logic. But they are nothing but comfort traps in disguise. And the more you listen, the more you believe. The more you believe, the less you act. And before you know it, weeks, months, years pass, and you've built a life out of nothing but delays. That's why facing your daily excuses is not a small thing. It's everything. Because your future depends on whether you listen to those excuses or shut them down. And let's be honest, we've all got them. I'm not ready. I'm too tired. It's not the right time. I don't feel motivated. What if I fail? Those thoughts come dressed in your own voice. They sound like they care about you, but they don't. They only care about keeping you where you are. They keep you still. They keep you small. They keep you stuck. And the most dangerous part, they sound true. That's what makes them so convincing. That's what makes them so powerful. Until you look them in the face and say, no, not today. You have to catch them early. As soon as they show up, you've got to recognize the patterns. Notice the moments when you always seem to give in. When the alarm goes off and you say 5 more minutes. When the workout gets tough and you say, I'll finish tomorrow. When the opportunity feels risky and you say, maybe later. Those are the moments that shape your life. Not the big ones. The small, invisible, daily ones. That's where the excuses live. And that's where they must be crushed. If you want a better life, you don't need more chances. You need fewer excuses. You need a no-nonsense, zero-compromise approach to your own potential. Not harsh, not reckless, but serious, clear, unapologetic. Because every excuse you entertain is a wall between you and the life you could have had. And make no mistake, you can get good at making excuses. You can get so good that you don't even hear them anymore. They blend into your thinking. They feel natural. They feel normal. But normal is the problem. Normal is broke. Normal is overweight. Normal is stressed out, uninspired, living paycheck to paycheck, hoping something changes. But nothing changes until you change. And you can't change until you stop protecting your excuses. You know what people do when they don't want to face their excuses? They get busy. But not productive, just busy. They clean things that don't need cleaning. Scroll through things that don't matter. Talk about goals they never take action on. That's avoidance. That's running. But you can't run from yourself. No matter where you go, your excuses follow until you deal with them head on. You crush excuses with truth, not emotion, not drama, not hype, just truth. Cold, clear, undeniable truth. What does the truth sound like? The truth is, you had time, you just didn't use it. The truth is, you weren't tired, you were uncommitted. The truth is, you didn't fail because you tried. You failed because you didn't stay consistent. The truth is, you were afraid of what people would think. The truth is, you kept choosing short-term comfort over long-term gain. The truth is, your actions didn't match your words. And if that hurts, good. That pain you feel when you admit the truth, that's the fuel. That's the spark. That's where the change starts. Not in comfort, in honesty. See, facing your excuses means facing your patterns. The patterns that keep you repeating the same days. The patterns that make you feel like you're trying, but getting nowhere. You've got to spot those. You've got to break them. Because every time you say, I'll do it tomorrow, you teach your brain that quitting is okay. Every time you let yourself off the hook, you make it easier to do it again. And that's how people lose themselves. One tiny excuse at a time. You want to build confidence? Keep promises to yourself. You want to build discipline? Do the hard things even when no one's watching. You want to build a life you're proud of? Stop giving yourself an escape route every time it gets uncomfortable. You need to treat your excuses like enemies. Not friends, not companions, not helpers, enemies. Because they rob you. They rob you of time, energy, progress, pride, and they never pay you back. Excuses take everything and return nothing. People say, I just don't feel motivated. That's not a valid reason. That's a trap. Motivation is nice, but it's not required. What's required is commitment. Motivation might start the engine, but discipline drives the car. And discipline is built through action, not feelings. You don't wait to feel like it. You act, and then the feeling comes. Most people are stuck waiting, but the ones who win, they act. They show up regardless. They get it done. The moment you start acting in spite of how you feel, you take your power back. You step out of victim mode. You stop negotiating with weakness. You stop letting your feelings decide your future. You know how many dreams have died because of excuses? More than any failure ever caused. People don't fail because they tried and didn't make it. They fail because they never started. They failed in advance. They buried their potential in reasons, in logic, in fear. There's always going to be a reason not to do something. Always. It will never stop. Life doesn't get easier. You just get stronger. You build a mind that stops falling for the same lies. You build a will that's stronger than your weakness. And that happens through repetition, through practice. Every time you say no to an excuse and yes to action, you level up. You get sharper, tougher, wiser. Don't underestimate the impact of small victories. Every time you beat an excuse, even a small one, you teach yourself something important. I can trust me. That's how self-respect is built. That's how self-worth grows. Not through praise, not through compliments, through action, through living with integrity, through choosing growth when it's easier to choose comfort. It's not about being perfect. It's about being committed. It's about being in control of your decisions. Some days will be hard. Some days you'll want to quit. But that's the cost. That's the trade. That's the investment. And the reward is not just success. The real reward is peace, pride, confidence, knowing you didn't fold, knowing you fought back. You need a standard, a rule, a decision, something non-negotiable. Because when life gets tough, and it will, your feelings will try to talk you out of doing what you need to do. But if you've already decided that excuses aren't an option, the conversation ends. You just do the work. Tired? Do the work. Discouraged? Do the work. Busy? Do the work. Excuses love emotion. That's how they survive. They grow in self-pity, in fear, in doubt. But when you become solid, emotionally stable, mentally grounded, those excuses lose their power because they can't rattle someone who's already decided, someone who's rooted, someone who's locked in. And look, nobody's coming to save you from your excuses. Nobody's going to show up and force you to change. That's your job. That's your responsibility. That's your decision. And you make it every day. Every time you wake up, every time you choose your focus, every time you decide to keep going when it would be easier to quit. You've got a future waiting for you, a better life, a stronger mind, a body that works better, spirit that's lit up again, a career that makes you proud. But none of that happens if you keep giving power to excuses. They have to go. Every last one of them. They have to be removed, rejected, replaced with action, with discipline, with belief, with proof. Because once you stop listening to your excuses, you start hearing something else. Your potential. You start hearing your courage, your wisdom, your grit, your drive. That voice was there the whole time. It just couldn't speak over the noise of your excuses. So shut that noise down every day. Get up and face it, crush it, replace it over and over until the only voice left is the one that says, let's go. We've got work to do. Next, build strong habits that match your highest standard. Every person wants a better life, but very few are willing to build it the right way. They chase big moments, big moves, big achievements. But the truth is, the foundation of everything you want, success, pride, fulfillment, starts with one thing: habits. Not the flashy ones, not the dramatic overnight changes. The strong, quiet, consistent ones. The ones that live in your daily decisions. The ones that become invisible, but powerful. The ones that reflect your highest standards, not your weakest moods. Strong habits don't just happen. They're created, they're built, and they're built on purpose. Every single day, with focus, with intention, with a clear sense of who you're becoming. Because here's the deal. If your habits don't match your standards, you will always feel out of alignment. You'll say you want excellence, but live with average routines. You'll talk about success, but behave like someone expecting failure. That gap, the gap between what you say you want and what you repeatedly do, is the root of your frustration. And the only way to close it is to build habits that rise to meet the person you're trying to become. You can't just raise your standards in your mind. You have to raise your standards in your habits. Because real standards don't live in your words. They live in your actions. They show up in the small, repetitive choices you make when no one's watching. They show up when you're tired, stressed, overwhelmed, distracted. That's when your real standards are revealed. So ask yourself, what do your habits say about your standard? If you're hitting snooze every morning, skipping workouts, breaking promises to yourself, eating things that drain your energy, wasting time on meaningless distractions, what kind of life are those habits leading you toward? Are they aligned with your best self or just your most convenient self? You have to be brutally honest. Because the truth is, you can't have elite results with average habits. You can't feel proud if you keep choosing shortcuts. You can't build a strong, confident identity if your behavior keeps reinforcing weakness. And you definitely can't rise if your habits keep pulling you back down. Habits are not just routines. They are the building blocks of identity. Every habit is a vote for the kind of person you believe you are. So if you want to shift your life, shift your identity, shift your direction, you've got to start by shifting your habits. But not just any habits. You need habits that reflect your highest standards. Habits that match the future you're claiming. Habits that build strength, not softness. Habits that stretch you, challenge you, develop you. And you don't start by overhauling everything overnight. You start by looking at your current life and identifying what needs to go. What habits no longer serve you? What actions lower your energy, drain your focus, make you feel small? Get rid of them. Cut them out. Not later. Not when it's easy. Now. Then look at the habits you admire and the people you respect. The ones who walk with confidence. The ones who operate with clarity. The ones who move with discipline. What do they do daily that you don't? What do they prioritize that you keep ignoring? What do they protect that you've been too casual about? That's your roadmap. Start small, but start seriously. Pick a habit that matters. One that aligns with the life you actually want. Not the life you're settling for. And make it non-negotiable. No matter how you feel. No matter how busy. No matter the excuse. Do it. Show up. Follow through. Make it automatic. Make it part of your DNA. Because here's the thing. Motivation fades. Inspiration fades. But identity stays. And the only way to build the identity of a strong, disciplined, focused person is to act like one long enough for it to become who you are. You got to show your mind who's in charge. You've got to lead yourself out of comfort. You've got to teach yourself what's acceptable and what's not. You do that by living your standards daily. Not occasionally, not when you're in the mood. Daily. That's what makes habits powerful. Not their intensity, but their consistency. And don't underestimate the compounding effect. A small change repeated every day adds up to massive transformation. You won't notice it immediately. You might not feel it for weeks, but eventually, you'll look around and realize everything's different. Not because of one big leap, but because you built a structure of habits that refuse to let you fall. But building strong habits is not just about repetition. It's about emotion. It's about connection. You have to emotionally link your habits to who you want to be. You have to associate each action with a feeling of power, of pride, of ownership. You have to stop seeing your habits as chores and start seeing them as acts of self-respect. Waking up early isn't just about discipline. It's about controlling your day. Moving your body isn't just about fitness. It's about keeping promises to yourself. Reading daily isn't just about learning. It's about becoming sharper, wiser, more aware. Every habit must be infused with meaning, because when your habits are meaningful, they become unbreakable. People often say, I just need more motivation, but that's not true. You don't need more motivation. You need more clarity. You need a reason that hits deep, a standard that won't bend, a vision that's so clear you refuse to betray it. That's what strong habits are built on. Vision, direction, purpose. And to know what else? You need friction. Yes, friction. You need to make bad habits hard to access. You need to make excuses inconvenient. You need to create an environment where only your best habits can survive. Rearrange your space. Protect your time. Guard your energy. You're not just building habits. You're building a system that makes high standards the default, not the exception. Because when your standards are high and your habits match those standards, you start to live differently. You speak differently. You walk with more purpose. You stop tolerating what weakens you. You start demanding more from yourself, not out of pressure, but out of respect. You start to love the process. You stop needing quick results because you know the system is working. You trust yourself. You rely on your habits to carry you when your emotions are unpredictable. You no longer operate based on how you feel. You operate based on what you decide, and that's when everything changes. People around you will notice. They'll wonder what shifted. They'll ask what's different, but you'll know it wasn't one thing. It was everything. It was the decision to living below your potential. It was the commitment to habits that match who you really are, not who you've been pretending to be. And here's what you'll realize. Strong habits are not a burden. They're a blessing. They give you freedom. They eliminate confusion. They remove hesitation. Because when you've already decided what you do daily, you free up your energy for higher level thinking. You're not wasting willpower choosing. You've already chosen. Now you just follow through. That's power. Most people are tired because they make 1,000 small decisions every day without structure. But when your habits are strong and clear, you don't waste energy on petty battles. You've already won them. You've already locked in. You're not debating whether to do what's right. You just do. And that's what separates high performers from the rest. So don't aim for perfect habits. Aim for strong ones, solid ones that anchor you, ones that ground you, ones that elevate you when life tries to drag you down. And remember, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. So raise that level right now, without delay. Because your habits today are quietly building your life tomorrow. You don't get to skip that reality. You don't get to cheat it. You either build the life you want or reinforce the one you're trying to escape. Build habits that make your future self proud. Build habits that would impress the person you respect most. Build habits that don't flinch when life gets messy. Because life will test you. It will hit hard. And when it does, you don't need willpower. You need structure. You need habits that hold the line. Habits that protect your standards when everything else feels shaky. That's how you grow. That's how you transform. That's how you rise. So today, look at your life like an architect. Tear down what's weak. Replace what's lazy. Build systems that protect your standards. And do it again tomorrow. And again. And again. Until you don't recognize the person you used to be. And when that day comes, and it will, you'll look back, not with regret, but with gratitude. Gratitude that you made the hard decisions. Gratitude that you stopped settling. Gratitude that you finally started building a life that reflects the greatness inside you. That's the power of strong habits. That's the reward for holding high standards. Not perfection, not applause, but quiet pride, deep peace, unshakable confidence. And that is worth every ounce of effort, every early morning, every hard choice, every uncomfortable adjustment. Because at the end of the day, your life is built, not wished for, and the tools are in your hands every single day. Use them well. Next, cut out anything that weakens your mind. Daily. Every day, your mind is either being strengthened or it's being weakened. There is no in between. And if you're not consciously protecting it, you're unconsciously allowing it to be drained, polluted, and softened by things that have no place in the life you say you want. You might not even notice it happening. Because weakness doesn't scream. It creeps in slow. It hides inside small compromises. It disguises itself as normal, just a break, or no big deal. And by the time you feel its weight, it's already been robbing you for weeks, months, even years. The most dangerous threats to your mental strength are often the ones you tolerate daily, the scrolling you justify, the people you keep around who drain your spirit, the conversations that lower your standards, the media you consume without question, the self-talk you never correct. These things might look harmless, but that are corrosive, bit by bit. They weaken your thinking. They blur your focus. They dull your ambition. You need to stop pretending that your environment doesn't matter. You need to stop acting like your inputs don't shape your output. If you constantly expose your mind to chaos, gossip, fear, distractions, noise, you don't get to be surprised when your decisions feel cloudy, your emotions feel heavy, and your confidence feels shaky. Mental strength is not something you build once and keep forever. It's something you have to reinforce daily. And to do that, you must cut out anything that chips away at it. You must remove the thoughts, habits, and relationships that quietly sabotage your potential. You must declutter your inner world like your life depends on it. Because it does. Start with your digital life, what you consume online, you absorb mentally. If your feed is filled with nonsense, comparison, and outrage, you're feeding your mind with poison. You think it's harmless entertainment, but it's rewiring your attention, stealing your time and numbing your drive. You're not just wasting minutes, you're wasting your edge. You're giving away your clarity for comfort, and the yields you pay is heavy. Be ruthless with what you allow in. Not everything that's popular is useful. Not everything that's trending is healthy. Your mind is sacred ground. Guard it like it matters. Unfollow accounts that distract you. Mute the noise. Silence the drama. Create a digital space that inspires clarity, not confusion, that sparks action, not paralysis. Then look at your relationships. Who are the people you talk to daily? Are they building your mindset or breaking it down? Do they challenge you to grow or invite you to settle? Do they encourage strength or normalize weakness? You can't afford to surround yourself with people who are comfortable with mediocrity. You can't keep close those who make excuses feel acceptable. If you want to live strong, you need to be around strong minds. Not perfect people, but people who are honest, disciplined, self-aware. People who remind you of your potential, not your past. People who see your growth as a standard, not a surprise. Cut ties with energy drainers. Stop explaining your goals to those who don't understand discipline. Distance yourself from negativity, even if it comes from people you've known for years. Loyalty means nothing if it costs you your mental health. You are not it to stay in rooms that shrink you. Choose peace over pleasing. Choose strength over familiarity. Now take inventory of your habits. What do you do every morning, every evening? Are your routines sharpening your mind or dulling it? Are you starting your day with intention or reacting to chaos? Are you ending your night with reflection or numbing yourself with mindless scrolling and cheap dopamine? The strength of your mind is directly tied to your habits. You don't get a focused mind with scattered routines. You don't get peace with chaotic behaviors. You don't get discipline with indulgent habits. If your daily patterns are messy, your thinking will be too. Clean it up. Wake up with purpose. Move your body. Read something that challenges you. Write down what you're thinking so your mind can breathe. Meditate, pray, plan, reflect. Do something that puts you in control. Not the world, not your phone, not your emotions, and stop feeding yourself mental junk. If your entertainment is built on violence, gossip, or stupidity, don't act surprised when your thoughts feel heavy and your motivation feels low. Your brain doesn't forget what you show it. It absorbs, it records, it reflects back what you feed it. Start feeding it strength, feed it clarity, feed it perspective. Listen to people who speak from wisdom, not just noise. Read books that expand you, not just distract you. Study people who've overcome real adversity. Learn how they think, copy their mindset, practice their discipline. You are the average of what you feed your mind. If you want that average to rise, raise your inputs. Refuse to be casual about your mental diet. Refuse to treat your focus like it's unlimited. Refuse to let weakness blend into your lifestyle. Because once weakness becomes normal, you stop noticing how far you've fallen. You adapt to dysfunction. You adjust to laziness. You justify behaviors that slowly break you down. And you wonder why life feels stuck, why your energy is low, why your ambition fades in and out. It's because something in your daily life is weakening you. Something you're tolerating is dimming your fire. And until you cut it out, nothing else will work. No strategy, no morning routine, no motivational quote. You can't build strength on a foundation that's crumbling. You have to clean up what's eroding your mental resilience. So take your power back every day. in the small decisions, in the ignored habits, in the passive moments. Take it back when you choose silence over arguing, when you say no to distractions, when you stop chasing validation, when you choose to rest instead of escape, when you reflect instead of react. You don't need more hacks. You need more honesty. You need to admit what's making you weak and remove it. Not because you're better than it, but because you deserve better than it. You deserve clarity. You deserve peace. You deserve to live strong, focused, and grounded. But no one can give that to you. You have to build it. You have to choose it. You have to protect it like your life depends on it. Because your future does. And here's something most people never realize. Protecting your mind is not a one-time event. It's a daily battle. Every single day, something will try to steal your strength. A distraction, a conversation, a temptation, a setback, a thought. You can't control all of it, but you can control how much of it gets in. You can set boundaries, you can raise your standards, you can decide what belongs and what doesn't. And when you do, everything starts to shift. Your thoughts get clearer, your emotions get steadier, your decisions get bolder, your focus gets deeper. Because your mind isn't being pulled in every direction anymore. It's anchored, it's protected, it's trained, and people will notice. They'll feel the difference. You'll walk with more presence, speak with more certainty, move with more purpose. Not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because you finally stopped letting weakness have a seat at your table. That's what this is really about. Cutting out anything that weakens your mind is not about living in a bubble. It's about becoming someone who no longer allows nonsense to shape them. It's about rising above the noise and owning your space. It's about living with mental discipline so strong it becomes your edge in a world that's addicted to distraction. This is your call to upgrade, to stop playing small, to stop blending in with the tired, the scattered, the overstimulated, to stand out, not with flash, but with focus, not with noise, but with strength. And that strength starts with subtraction, with elimination, with removal of everything that chips away at your power. So let today be the line you draw, the moment you start filtering what you allow in, the day you say no, not out of arrogance, but out of self-respect. Because your mind is your greatest weapon. And if you don't protect it, no one else will. Cut it out. Whatever it is, cut it now. If it weakens your mind, it doesn't belong in your day, your space, your thought. Make the hard cut. Then feel the shift. Because once your mind is free from clutter, your life will follow. Every single time. Next, push through discomfort until growth becomes your truth. Discomfort is not your enemy. It's the beginning of your transformation. But the problem is, most people spend their entire life trying to run from it, numb it, avoid it, or hide of it. They spend so much time trying to dodge anything uncomfortable that they never step into anything extraordinary. They stay safe, they stay predictable, they stay familiar, but they don't grow. And then they wonder why their life feels small, why their goals seem unreachable, and why success keeps showing up other people's stories instead of their own. What you need to understand is that every meaningful change, every real breakthrough, every powerful shift you will ever experience is born through discomfort, not in ease, not in convenience, not in comfort zones. Growth lives where it hurts. It hides in the hard moments, the ones you keep trying to skip. But until you embrace the hard, you stay exactly where you are. Because growth doesn't respond to wishes. It responds to war, inner war, mental war. The kind of battle where you meet yourself at your weakest and choose not to quit. Discomfort shows up the moment you start doing something different. The second you stop drifting and start deciding, the instant you choose discipline over delay. And it's in that moment, right there, that most people back off. They say, this is too much. They say, I'm not ready. They say, I'll start when I feel better. But here's the truth. You will never feel ready to grow. You will feel uncomfortable. And that's the sign you're on the right path. The human mind is wired to protect you, not grow you. It sees unfamiliar things as dangerous, even if they're necessary. So when you begin to push yourself, your brain starts to resist. It feeds you lies, like you're tired. You don't need this. Just do it tomorrow. But those aren't truths. They're signals. They're tests. They're discomfort dressed in thoughts, trying to see if you're serious about your evolution or just flirting with it. You don't need more motivation. You need more tolerance for discomfort. You need to be the person who walks into the storm, not away from it. The one who chooses to stay in the workout when your muscles scream. The one who keeps typing when your mind wants to quit. The one who shows up when it would be easier to disappear. It's not about talent. It's not about luck. It's about your relationship with discomfort. The stronger that relationship is, the faster you grow. Because you stop seeing pain as punishment. You start seeing it as progress. You realize that soreness means your body is adapting. That fear means your limits are stretching. That tension means your identity is shifting. And here's the truth no one wants to hear. The version of you that's going to reach your goals isn't the version you are today. That version is buried underneath layers of resistance, fear, procrastination, and habits that protect your comfort. You have to kill those layers, not with excuses, but with action. With the uncomfortable decisions that pull you into a higher standard. Push through the first few days where everything inside you says quit. Push through the awkwardness of learning a new skill. Push through the emotional weight of breaking an old pattern. Because on the other side of that push is proof. Proof that you're stronger than you thought. That you're capable of more than you believed. That discomfort doesn't own you. You own it. Every day you avoid discomfort. You reinforce your limitation. Every time you back off, when it gets hard, you tell your mind that fear wins, and that message becomes your truth. But every time you push forward when it's painful, when it's lonely, when it's slow, you send a new signal. You say, I don't care how it feels. I care what it builds. You say, this moment doesn't define me. What I do with it does. That's when the shift happens. That's when discomfort becomes less of a burden and more of a badge. You begin to crave challenge. You start chasing the edge. You stop being addicted to easy. And growth stops being an occasional experience. It becomes your identity. People who grow fast don't have easier lives. They just stop being fragile. They stop negotiating with weakness. They stop needing every step to feel good. They realize that discipline is not about being perfect. It's about showing up even when it's ugly. It's about moving forward even when you're not sure. It's about taking action when your feelings say don't. The reason most people never change is because they think discomfort means they're doing something wrong. They think tension means failure. They think pain means stop. But discomfort is actually a green light. It's the signal that says keep going. Keep pushing. You're breaking through. You have to change the story in your head. Discomfort isn't the enemy. Discomfort is the doorway, and it won't feel fair. It won't feel kind, but it will always lead you somewhere better. You just have to outlast the feeling. You have to hold the line when your old self begs to take back control, because that's when you grow. That's the moment of truth. Not when it's easy, but when you feel like giving up. And don't. And no, it won't be quick. You won't feel different overnight. But day by day, something inside you will start to shift. You'll stop being so reactive. You'll begin to move with more intention. You'll stop avoiding your reflection. You'll start showing up even on your worst days. Not perfectly, but consistently. And consistency is what rewires your mind. Not hype, not emotion. Repetition. Repetition of discomfort until it becomes your normal. Until challenge becomes your standard. Until facing fear is just part of your day. The truth is, you will either get used to growth or get used to regret. You will either normalize the discomfort of evolving, or you'll settle into the comfort of decline. And the longer you wait, the heavier that decline feels. It doesn't just steal your energy, it steals your belief. It steals your identity. It convinces you that you're someone who can't change. But you can. You just have to decide that comfort is no longer your goal. That strength matters more than ease. That building yourself matters more than entertaining yourself. That being honest with your pain is more important than hiding from it. When you make that decision, something unlocks. You start to wake up with a sense of direction. You stop wasting time on distractions. You cut off excuses mid-sentence. You become allergic to average. You start chasing pressure because you know that pressure is how diamonds form. Discomfort becomes your compass. If something feels hard, you lean in. If a decision scares you, you say yes. If a new path looks unfamiliar, you take the first step. Not because it feels good, but because it builds you. This is the secret. This is how the 1% think. They don't chase comfort. They chase capacity. They chase mastery. They chase discomfort on purpose. Because they know that's where life is built. They know that if you can train yourself to push when it's hard, you'll eventually live where most people only dream. So ask yourself, what are you avoiding right now that would change your life if you faced it? What uncomfortable decision are you putting off? What challenge are you shrinking from? What excuse are you calling a reason? Now make the opposite choice. Do the thing that hurts, the thing that scares you, the thing that makes your stomach turn and your mind scream, not today. Because when you do that, when you choose growth over comfort again and again, discomfort won't break you anymore. It will reveal you. It will expose your power, and growth will stop being something you chase. It will become the way you live. And when that happens, you'll realize something profound. You were never afraid of discomfort. You were afraid of what it would expose, the weakness, the gaps, the habits that no longer serve you. But once you face that, you become free, free to build, free to rise, free to grow without limits. This is not a one-time push. It's a lifestyle, a mindset, a standard, and it starts today. Push through, not for motivation, not for applause, but because this is who you are now. A person grows, no matter how it feels. A person who doesn't back down when it's tough. A person who refuses to live on the sidelines of their own potential. Let discomfort shape you. Let pressure carve you. Let pain refine you. Because on the other side is something better than comfort. It's the life you were meant to live.